Let's continue this conversation now with Ahmed Fattouh, spokesperson for the Palestinian National Liberation Movement, Fattouh, which is the leading party within the PA, who is joining us live now from Ramallah. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. I don't know if you could hear my guest before me, but he was talking on the difficulty of reaching a compromise right now between Hamas and Israel. And I just wanted to know what your thoughts are on what he had to say.
Thank you for having me, and it's my pleasure to be with you today. It's difficult because we have an Israeli government that don't want peace, actually. It's Israel that is starving the people in Gaza. It's Israel that is starving children to death in Gaza. It's Israel that's refusing all propositions for a peaceful solution and a ceasefire. We have proposed the Arab deal and the Arab proposition endorsed by all the Palestinian faction and actually created through Egypt and the Palestinian Authority and President Mahmoud Abbas to go for a political process that would create ceasefire, go for rebuilding and reconstructing Gaza, and to bring back the Palestinian Authority, the legitimate Palestinian Authority, to Gaza through a technocratic temporary government to rule Gaza until we reach elections and recover Gaza from the catastrophe of genocide that Israel has been doing for the past 24 months. Of course, Israel refuses, the PLO refuses, PA refuses, President Mahmoud Abbas refuses any rational and logical solution. They want just an extermination campaign. The Israeli far-right government see from October 7 as a great gift, as a great opportunity to push forward for a colonial project to ethnically cleanse the Palestinians from Gaza, to annex the West Bank. And that's not what I claim, that's what they say. Ben Gvir and Smotrich are the loud voice of the inner voice of the Israeli government. They are not, coming from another planet. It is that mentality that we are dealing with. The solution is a ceasefire first, because we all want the release of hostages and the Palestinian prisoners, which thousands are there without any trial or charges. And to go for a peaceful solution that ends this permanently, because we have to touch the staggering fact that this is an occupation and a case of occupation against the occupied, not a two states with a dispute, as your previous guest wanted to imply. And it's astonishing that they are accusing the Palestinian Authority and the Palestinian Liberation Organization for crippling peace, when Israel itself is building thousands of settlements each year, when Israel itself is organizing and arming the settler terrorism in the West Bank, when Israel itself is refusing to recognize the very Palestinian state, even to recognize the Palestinian people, while we, the Palestinian Liberation Organization and Fattouh as a member of that organization, recognize the state Palestine and recognize it in 1994. But we are dealing with a government and with a political system, unfortunately, that don't respect peace and don't want peace and only want colonialism.
So I just want to say that when you actually first saw the footage of the emaciated Israeli hostages which were released by Hamas, what was your immediate reaction to this? And is there any way that Fattouh and the PA are able to put pressure on Hamas to release the hostages and come to some sort of political solution within side of Gaza and Palestine?
Of course, it's difficult and saddening to see anybody suffering. We refuse all kinds of starvation against our people or against even our enemies, because this is an immoral way of dealing. Israel using starvation as a weapon of war is, a crime of all crimes. This is a crime that's happening in 21st century, remind us of the Dark Ages, and we refuse, because based on our principles, based on our ethics, based on our cultural rules, even our religion, to see these images. And I believe this is the result, and the first responsible for these images is the Israeli occupation that prevent food from going to Gaza. And those prisoners are in Gaza, so logically they are gonna suffer as well. When Israel ban baby formula, what in God's name is that? What could even justify banning baby formula, baby milk, from reaching the children of Gaza? That is a horror, a true sadistic crime. And of course, we have proposed many solutions, and we have endorsed the Arab plan, and we have been in talks with Hamas and Egypt. and to go for a political process, because we have to say that creating peace needs first to create a peaceful environment. It is Netanyahu that wanted negotiations under fire. It's Netanyahu that refuses to sit with the Palestinian Liberation Organization. It's Netanyahu that refuses Fattouh or Hamas or any Palestinian partner. They want, he says, your previous guest said they want a regime. Of course, they want a colonial regime. They want to create cantons, like in South Africa, apartheid, where clans rule in themselves, deprived from any rights or any opportunities. Of course, that refused. That's apartheid system that they wish to create. No Palestinian will accept it. No Palestinian will accept to be a slave or to be a third-class citizen. We have been providing
Ahmed, just before I let you go, I just want to ask you one question. Sorry, we are slightly short on time, but will Fattouh be able to step up and help run Gaza if Hamas do decide to disarm? Do you still have political influence in Gaza, or do people want Hamas there?
The majority want the Palestinian legitimate authority to go back to Gaza. I ask you to see the polls from Gaza. More than 70% want the Palestinian Authority to rule. More than 90% reject Hamas. Hamas is not popular as the Western media wish to imply. We have to say that President Mahmoud Abbas has been clear when he issued an election before the end of this year that is based on democratic selection, and there's a basis for the election that any party or political party who wish to elect to recognize the PLO treaties and the agreements in the international community and to recognize the international resolutions. So we are clear that we want a peaceful and political process that respect the two-state solution. And we have also said that we want a technocratic government, a temporary government, to go to Gaza to rule it until we could recover and make elections. So in our side, we have provided all the political means and all the political possibilities to go for a peaceful process. And we also recognize the state of Israel, but Israel does not recognize the state of Palestine. So we want the two-state solution, but Israel is denying it. Israel is the one that has issued a bill just a few days ago in its parliament, the Knesset, calling to annex the West Bank. That is against the law. That's against two-state solution. That's against all the principles of finding any solution further. They want a state that is undermining the Palestinian state. Netanyahu, from the very beginning, his position is to undermine the Palestinian
Ahmed, Fattouh, I'm so sorry. We're going to have to leave it there. We're out of time, but always a pleasure to have your insights on the show. Thank you.